to video number 3, which I dub eBay Golden Age Budget Comic Book Collecting, where I share my secrets, my passion, tips, and how I like to have fun collecting Golden Age books, which I acquire about 99% of them off eBay. So up next, Big Shot Comics number 17. You probably never heard of this. Not a lot of people have. A lot of it's just kind of different. Some of it's superhero. The earlier stuff was superhero. Now Skyman is a superhero how I came to know about this particular series. Alright, so how I came across Big Shot was I got an issue of Skyman a couple years ago. Now this is published by Columbia Pictures, Hollywood. I haven't done a lot of research, but it's the only comic book I know that's published by Columbia. So from issue 1, Skyman appeared in all the issues all the way to the end. The face appeared in issue 1 too. So number 17 is kind of a small key. This is the first face cover appearance. So both characters kind of have ties to Hollywood, but the face was Troy Trent. The face was Tony Trent, who was a broadcaster by day, and he wore this mask, as you can see right there, and he would fight crime in a tuxedo. Pretty cool, pretty obscure, pretty cheesy altogether. So I've been looking at getting some early issues of Big Shot. This is from 1941, September 1941. September's right there, 1941. But these are kind of pricey, these early issues of big comics. So I've been really looking over the last few years to wait for the right moment to pounce on an early issue. This came up, of course you can tell it's a little Gatorade. So it was restored right here by an amateur restorator. So this book was only 25 bucks. Actually it was on auction and nobody bid on it, and I had it on my watch list. So I didn't get to it in time because I said if nobody bids on this, I'll take it for 25. I was interested in it. It's really cool. So, of course, since I was on the watch list when the seller relisted it, it appeared in my email, and I went ahead and just jumped on it really quick. Have not read it yet. Really looking forward to reading this book. Of course, you can see right here, it's just Skyman, and it has... What I love about these early Golden Age, I mean, like from the 1930s to like 40, 41, 42, they're really thick. They have a lot of different series in them. And the book like this will take me more than one day to read, more than one sitting. Whereas a modern book I'll be done in 10 minutes. This will take me about an hour and a half, and then I'll put it down and pick it up the next day, take me another hour and a half to read it. That's why I love Golden Age. And you know I love about comic book collecting and YouTube and watching videos is you get to see all the different collectors. Everybody has their own unique way of collecting, and nobody's the same. We do have some similarities, but we all have a lot more differences. So when you get to watch these videos, you get to see the passion, the different passions among the collectors here. And mine is definitely the Golden Age. So, you know what, let me throw up a big book. So I talked about it in video 2, where I rarely will go after anything like a big DC character from the Golden Age or timely books or anything like that, because those books can be very expensive. Most mainstream collectors are always after those books, and when they're at auction, and usually they go for auction, they're rarely at buy it nows unless they're graded already. So bada boom, bada bing, this one here is a fair copy. This is Batman number 35. Not a really iconic cover, but it does have iconic story in it. It has 2 iconic stories, so it is a key. The seller listed this for $148 with a make an offer. I was going to offer 100. I thought, I don't know if he's going to take it. So I offered 110, probably put me in a little safer zone. And he ended up taking the offer, and I couldn't be more happy with this book. The cover's attached, all the pages are there, and that's one thing I sent him a question and made sure that those were things were my criteria on this book. Now I'm going to post some pictures here. You're going to see that this book, when I first got it, this was penciled in or outlined with pencil. There was pencil in here. And I cleaned this book up a little bit. So I took just a regular gum eraser, a stencil, and I got a brush so I could brush away the residues from the filings from the eraser. And I got most of the pencil out of here, got most of the pencil out of here, cleaned up the yellows, the whites the best that I could. Any whites or yellows you can, with a gum eraser, you can clean up, and you're not going to really hurt it. As long as you're very light, don't put any pressure on the eraser while you're cleaning. I took off about, 30% of this tape. But the rest of it was pulling the ink up, so I had to leave it, which is fine. I'd rather not damage the book anymore. I think it's a whole lot more presentable than when I first bought it. This has a iconic Catwoman story in. She gets a new costume, and she also gets killed in here. And then, if you guys know your Batman history, you'll see in the Batcave, in many, many issues, the big giant dinosaur that's in the background. Well, this is the origin story of that dinosaur. So this is a key book for $100, a Golden Age Batman from 1946. I'm extremely happy to have this. So there are times when I will go over my sweet spot of $50. It's just rarely will I do it, but in some cases I will. And it all depends. Okay, so speaking of the budget aspect of this is a Blue Bolt issue. This is number 77. Blue Bolt is actually a superhero that appeared in issue 1. And Novelty Press hired Joe Simon to work on the character. So he had searched around, was very impressed with Jack Kirby's art, and sent a note over to Jack if he would be willing to come and work with him on the book and develop the character. So Blue Bolt, number 2, is a key issue because it's the first time that Joe Simon and Jack Kirby ever worked together on a comic book character. They did the character for 12 issues, and then they left the company and moved on to Timely, where they created Captain America. So this has a lot of history behind it, this series here. Blue Bolt lasted most of the series, but he was negated to the background as superheroes became less popular. He does appear in here in a 2-page story, but they then went with different other characters like Dick Cole and different series in the back. You can see this is a war cover. But so speaking of the budget aspect, this book was $7.99 with a make it offer. Very nice, fine copy here. But me being the cheapskate, trying to save a little money, I sent them a make it offer for $5 and they took it. So with $2.75 for shipping, I got this book for $7.75. And it's a really, really nice copy. Happy to have it. It's nothing significant, it's just cool. But I showed that first, but this is actually an earlier issue. Now this one's a little bit harder to get. I did do research on it to see if I could find another copy. I did find one. They wanted like $60 for that copy, and it wasn't quite as nice looking as this one. So again, Monday morning, new listings, I check. Blue Bolt's one of the titles I'm always checking. Target is another one. I have a long list of comic book titles from the Golden Age that I'll check new listings for every week. Because you gotta be the early bird. You gotta be the first one to that listing to get the good books. And a lot of them you probably won't even know are listed if you don't get up early and check. Actually, a lot of the Monday listings don't actually go up till after 10 o'clock. So this one was there. So this book was listed for $29.99. Right away, I knew that this was undervalued. This is a $50 book or more all day long in mid-grade. So when I saw $39.99, I jumped on it right away. And it was $5 shipping, so I got it for $34.99. Beautiful World War II book. And a lot of people, when I put this on Instagram, a lot of people commented how beautiful the cover is. So yeah, happy to have that. Moving on to another low budget, low, low, yeah. So now this cover is not very presentable. I mean, it's not very iconic. There's nothing really cool, really too bad about it. It's just a gunfight. And from the angle it was drawn, it's really not even, I think, that dynamic. But the thing is, I know this title. You got to know your titles. This is a very hard books to find at a good price, especially in a good grade. Now, this book is a fine plus. The only thing is, they remove the staples from it. They put tape here, and they put a piece of tape like between each page. I don't know why they did that. This book has nothing missing, no tears. It's really, really nice looking. So what I did, and I know it's blasphemous, I restapled the book because it's mine. I'm not going to resell it. And I bought a stapler just for magazines, and I wanted to test it out. And this thing stapled out pretty good. I never used the stapler before, so I got one staple off. You can't probably even see it. But yeah, so this book was very inexpensive, and this book is a $40 to $50 book, and then more in a higher grade, and I believe it was $20. So right away I knew that, yeah, this book was $19.50, and I'm like, for this book, here's a steal. So this is from May 1952. Also, this is by Fawcett Comics. Fawcett Comics did not do a lot of crime comics. I guess that's probably why that makes this a little bit more scarcer. Because Fawcett they did a lot of funny animal and a lot of superhero, but they rarely did any crime or horror. They tried to stay away from more mature titles. All right, so we're moving on. So Air Fighter Comics, number 12, 1943. A home run for me. Now you say, why is that a home run, Nighttiger? Well, you know what? I'm going to tell you why. Now, this seller really knows how to take care of books. This book was missing a centerfold, and he reprinted it and put it in there. So this is another case of poor grade because it's incomplete. It's considered incomplete, so that's a .05. But this first Air Fighter Comics Volume 1 is extremely, extremely hard to get, especially at a really low price. If you're going to get even Volume 2, because these run 22 issues, you're going to pay well into $100 for the Volume 1 to Volume 2. So this is number 12, Volume 1. And this ended up costing me very little money. This was an auction that ended on a Sunday night. My allergies are just starting to kick up. I was watching this book all week. The seller had several books, Air Fighter titles. This was the earliest of them. This one has like a horror-looking cover. It has everything going for it. And I ended up, the auction, it was like around $17 when the auction was really closing in. I did what I've explained. I waited till 14 seconds were left, backed off the page, and then came back and put my bid in. So I bid like $34. So that's what I wanted. I felt like I wanted to pay more, but trying to keep it on the budget, I threw in $34. There wasn't time for them to bid up from 17, like one bid at a time to get up to where I was at, and I ended up getting this for $22.83. That is extremely good. This book in this condition, I'm telling you, is probably a $50, $60 book. Now, it's incomplete, but the seller did put the centerfold back in, so it's really all there. The whole story's there and everything. And like I say, this is a very, very scarce. I am so excited to have this thing. Beautiful, beautiful cover. Oh my goodness. Fred Kita cover. Uh, so volume for number one of this series was Black Commander, and they quickly changed it and put Airboy. I don't know where he came from, but volume two is the origin of Airboy, the first appearance of Airboy, and that way I guess they could relate more with the kids who were buying the books. And Airboy appeared in every issue, and then this actually turned into Airboy comics until the end of the run. So very cool, very, like I said, I got this really cheap, and that's how you do it. So if you want to do auctions, watch for those auctions and put them on your watch list and keep an eye on them. A lot of times I'll make a mental note of where I want to be on a book. If it gets bid up before the auction gets to the end and it gets higher than I want, then I just unwatch the book and it's gone. So that's how I do it. And then I'll watch all the other auctions. And I set my alarm for 2 minutes before the auction's going to be over. My alarm will go off. I'll go in. I'll watch it count down. I'll wait till those 14 seconds and then I'll put in my bid. So, next comic. Okay, House of Mysteries number 76. This is a Silver Age book, but this was an auction by a seller. I got 4 books from him. This auction, and I talked about it last video. This auction ended on Monday morning around 10 o'clock. I was watching it, and all of them were Kirby covers. Nobody was bidding because I surmised that everybody was at work. So I was like, yay, I stumbled on this auction by a seller. He's got 4 books. They're really low. I'm going to try to get all 4, and I ended up getting all 4. This is kind of a sought-after House of Mystery because it's a Good Girl cover, and it's a Jack Kirby cover also. So I ended up getting that book for really, really cheap. I'm going to look it up, but I believe it was $8. Now, these issues of House of Mystery, really the ones... I got it for 14 with shipping. But these House of Mysteries below 100, extremely hard to find. Go on eBay and check it out. Put in House of Mystery and then see how many you can find below 100. I think right now there may be 2, which I was looking at. They were both $15 a piece, which isn't really too bad. But over this course of this last year, I was able to pick up 2 at a flea market, number 50 and number 63. And then in this auction, I was able to get 68 and 76. I like these early House of Mysteries. This is from 1959, actually. And that's where I really like to get my Silver Age, is 59, 55, 59 when it comes to like DC stuff. All right, so I got 2 more books left. The next one's a horror title. All right, so this is Journey into Mystery, March 1954. Carl Burgos cover with Salbrodsky inks. Now, this is an Atlas book. Look at it. It's pre-code. These are the ones you want. These are the most desirable, and these are the ones that retain their value. You do not want the coded ones. Unless you get them for a really, really extreme, seem to be like too expensive for me. And the ones that I want to pay, in my budget, they're really, really beat up. And so I just really felt like I was not going to buy one until I found the right one. So I've actually been looking for, I don't know, it's been a couple years. I've been looking for one. So I waited and I finally got one. And and I've seen these on Captain Strangelove. He has quite a nice collection of Journey into Unknown Worlds. But he has some nice ones, and that's what I wanted in my collection. I didn't want some beat-up ones. Now, unless it's a super key, super extremely hard to get, then I don't mind the condition being in lower grade. These aren't quite that scarce. They're just go for a lot of money. Okay, so speaking of Journey into Unknown Worlds, this next one is a key issue. It is extremely low grade. And I was willing to pay more for it, but guess what? I paid less. Now I'm going to show you, hopefully, if I can find, I have some saved screenshots of 2 other listings on this book. Both other listings, if I'm going to be able to show them, They're in a lot lower grade than this. Well, not a lot. They're in the same grade, but they're a lot less presentable. More of the cover's missing on these two other listings. One's got it listed for 120 something and the other one for 170 something. So you can see that this book is very desirable. Now this book says number 37, but it's actually number 2. This is actually a Bill Everett cover. And if you are familiar with Bill Everett, you know that he's the creator of Submariner. Did Submariner's solo stuff in the Golden Age. This book also has a Hitler story. That's another reason that this book's really sought after. So this falls right into the budget parameter. This was on auction for $30. And it was, I think, two days into the auction without any bids. Now, a lot of times sellers who aren't really comic book sellers may look at an auction of a book they got up and see no bids on it and think nobody wants it. But that's actually not the case, because the smart bidders are going to wait to the very, very end before they do anything on that auction. So it's a good time, if you know that the seller might be inexperienced, for you to take advantage of that. And hopefully that doesn't sound wrong. But if they have a buy it now, or if they have a make an offer, which this has happened to me quite a few times, on a few times where the auction has 0 bids. And actually I got another really extremely desirable book that I showed in a couple videos past, the same exact way I got this one. So like I said, it was on auction for $30. There was no bids. We're 2 days into the auction, and it says make an offer. So here I go. Let me give it a shot. So I shot them a $20 offer. I figured they think this book is not going to sell. It's probably in too much of a low grade. And so what did they do? They countered. Hey, that's fine. They countered 20, or they countered, actually this book was 35. So they countered 25. So I said, okay, even for 35, this book is a steal. So I countered back with 25. I said, let me just do this. In the end, I can just buy it if I want for the 30. So they actually took the 25. And I was like, what? I was doing the dance again, the comic book Grail dance. So this book here I got for 25 with shipping, $33. So I got this total $33. So I got this book for 5 times less than what it goes for. So do your research out there, experiment, learn. All you can do is just get out there and do it, and you're going to learn from that. That's what I did. I was not familiar with eBay 3 years ago. I didn't know a whole lot about the Golden Age. I know that I liked it and that I wanted it. So I got out there and I started doing auctions, and for a while I really failed a lot. I overpaid. Books I got overpaid were too low of a grade. But I learned slowly. I'm like, okay, let me try this, let me try that. I did this last time, and then I watched videos, of course, on YouTube. Of course, I mentioned there's all these websites you can get information from: Comic Book Grand Database, Comic Realm, Golden Age Superhero Fandom, eBay. Check sold listings on eBay. If you see a book and you're not sure if the price is good enough or whatever, check to see if there's other listings. Go to My Comic Shop is a good place to get information. Especially, you got to be careful. There are some reprint books out there of the Golden Age, and those reprints actually they're worth a little bit of money, but they're reprints. And you can go to My Comic Shop and look up the series, and they'll tell you if there's reprints in the series. If you find a Golden Age book and you open it up and it has page 2 and page 1 is not there, it's a reprint, because there's a certain company that does these reprints, and the originals have page 1 on the inside cover. So I hope that I've helped you a little bit. I want to do another series soon where I'm collecting quirky posts and cool looking books and stuff that's out of budget, but it's like hard to get, but really cool that you probably never seen before. And then show you books that I want to be looking at that if you want to get them in your collection, it's easy to do. I want to see how many people I can inspire to start collecting the Golden Age. And I don't care if that makes it harder for me to get the books that I want. What I like is spreading the passion. I am not so much into the competition. I mean, I don't mind telling you what I paid for a book so that you have some knowledge. I don't mind sharing my honey holes. I don't mind doing these things because I'd like to see more people getting into the Golden Age. I'd like to see younger people getting into comics. I think that's what comic book community is about. It's about sharing and inspiring and not competition. So this is Nighttiger saying, thanks for watching. I hope that this isn't boring to you because it's definitely exciting to me.